My first piece of advice on Life Coach Hazen, stay hydrated. So, I'm seeing a lot of people out there, both old and new to some of the communities I frequent, and there are a few consistent problems I notice with people. And one of the main problems that I notice that I kind of want to talk about today is people who go way too hard on trying to make friends within these communities and also going about it completely the wrong way. Now, nobody's perfect. Even I, the little social butterfly that I am, sometimes take missteps when you're trying to engage with people. And today I want to go over some of these kind of social pitfalls with you guys, kind of show you where they are, how to avoid them. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll learn something about yourself, learn how to deal with these situations, and you might be a little bit better at making new friends. The number one thing I see is conversation hijacking. Now, I notice this one a lot from people who are really big fans of some certain video game franchise or some TV show or book series. Sometimes they get so wrapped up in these works of fiction that it sort of gets entangled with their identity too. You also see this when somebody constantly posts reaction GIFs or images or references to some franchise or work of fiction that they're into, when it's not really relevant and doesn't even make sense in like an ironic juxtaposition comedy kind of sense. Now, I myself am guilty of this sometimes, as you've probably seen if you've ever been anywhere that I've been or talked to me for more than about 5 minutes. So I completely understand where some of this comes from. Here's a perfect example. The one guy that's always in your chat that's posting Master Chief reaction GIFs when nobody's talking about Halo and the reaction GIF really doesn't even kind of make sense in the context of what's being talked about at all. Or the guy who always has some excerpt or something from Warhammer at the ready. Every time there's some conversation going on, there's some little diatribe or story anecdote from Warhammer that he's got ready to just throw out there. Hey, did you guys hear about that tarantula species that's got the iridescent blue colors on it? Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know tarantulas could look like that. Oh my god, this is just like the elites in Halo when they get their shields damaged. Do not do this shit. Now, the root of this ugly weed, innocently enough, is in a desire to just connect with people who like the same things that these people like. And usually, like I mentioned before, a lot of these people have a folder on their computer of these images or, you know, different references and stuff just at the ready because they want to post them. They want like an excuse to post these things because they're just praying that somebody out there will see this Master Chief thing and go, wow, is that Master Chief? Is that Halo? I think is pretty cool guy. And they're going to get these references or they're going to come forward and talk to you about Halo or something like that. That's almost never going to happen. And I don't think it's a bad thing to want to connect with people and sometimes do things like that when you kind of maybe suspect that they're into something. But most of the time, about 99% of the people who see you do this shit, you come off as like a 14-year-old who just discovered whatever it is you're posting images of or referencing. And the more you do this, the more that image is getting cemented into people's heads of you. Even sometimes people who do like things that you're into or that you're referencing or posting images of are still gonna think, wow, this guy's like obsessively into this. I don't know if I want to be friends with him, even though he likes the same thing that I like. And again, even with those people, the more they see you do this, the more that image of you will become solid and reinforced and galvanized to where it can be almost impossible to break that up and show people that there's a really good person in there who's not insanely obsessive about Halo or whatever. You can avoid this social pitfall by not doing this. Each time you go to post one of these reaction images or references or whatever it is that you got a folder of at the ready for, stop and ask yourself these questions. When is the last time I posted something like this? If the answer is less than 48 hours ago, don't do it. Just type LOL if you got to say something along those lines. Sometimes it's better to just kind of blend in and be chill. Has anyone in this place in the past ever reacted positively to me behaving this way? If the answer is no or rarely, you might want to consider easing up. Does the conversation that's going on have anything to do with this reference I'm about to post? Now, like I said before, there are some situations where the juxtaposition of something like a nostalgia critic meme in relation to someone talking about someone getting arrested on the news or something. That's funny. Like, a lot of people might smile and laugh about that just because it's so insane to imagine Doug Walker as the nostalgia critic reacting to, like, I don't know, some dude getting arrested for like embezzlement or something like that. That's just like, why would he even be paying attention to that? Problem is that these situations can kind of be hard to read if you're not really socially adept. So if you're in a situation where you see something like that and you want to try that, try it one time, read the room, see if people react positively to it. If people laugh and smile, still don't do it all the time, but it'll be okay once in a while to do something like that. If nobody reacts to your little meme or reaction GIF joke thing, cut it out. These people are probably politely trying to discourage you from doing this without being nasty to you, because they don't hate you. They just don't get the joke, or they don't think it's funny. If you see people hijacking conversation this way, you can do yourself and everyone around you a favor by just ignoring it. Or if you feel comfortable engaging with that person, just take them off to the side in DMs or something and be like, hey man, look, when you act this way, this is kind of how I perceive this. Don't speak for other people. Don't say everyone sees this way, because you don't know what other people are seeing it as, even if they're telling you something. And if you say, hey, everyone sees you this way when you do this thing, they're going to go, oh, well, who's everyone? Like, did somebody say that? Now you got yourself in a situation. Number 2 is constant political talk. This has been a really big one recently. And again, I'm very guilty of this a lot of the time, more than I should be. To make things real short, there has never in the last 10 years of the history of our country, our world, been a worse time where you just cannot avoid people talking about political shit all the time, everywhere around you. But you got to keep in mind that these political types of discussions can quickly take a peaceful, fun place and turn it into an absolute war zone. And that's why I always say that political stuff, even though it is tempting to talk about it because it feels important, it's better to talk about that with close friends and family members. Because usually with people who are close to you, if you disagree, there's a better chance that you will be able to just agree to disagree instead of having an all-out fight or missing out on the chance to be friendly with somebody who's really cool and fun to be around just because you don't see eye to eye on some kind of political thing. And yes, I get it. Believe me, this stuff is important. The political stuff, it's important to think about it and to talk about it with somebody, right? It's whether you think about it or care about it or not, it's gonna affect you. But cramming this stuff into an otherwise peaceful situation is not a good idea. It's rude, and it just like tears everything up for everybody there. That's not gonna change anybody's mind, and it's not gonna win you any new friends, and it's not gonna change anything that you think is important to behave that way, no matter what some YouTuber told you. Again, if you see somebody doing this, no matter what the intensity, you have the option to just ignore that. Or you can approach them calmly, talk to them about how you feel about this stuff. Not particularly the political stuff itself, but just the bringing up of it in a place where that's not really welcome. Just be careful not to fall for the well-hidden and all too often activated trap card of getting roped into a political discussion in DMs, because I promise you, it's a waste of time. There's nothing effective about that at all. Number 3, and the last one on our list today, is pity party planning. Now, I do notice a whole lot less of this going on these days, but to be frank, that's probably because I don't hang out in places where actual kids hang out or adults who have never gotten out of that kid mindset. But this used to be a pretty prevalent thing on the internet, and you do still see it pop up from time to time nowadays. Pity party planning is when somebody goes into a place with the intention, the sole intention usually, of just throwing all their weird self-esteem issues out on people because they don't know how to talk about that healthily or something. Sometimes it's innocently just that they really need to vent about something, and they just don't know how to really approach that. Like I said, in a healthy way, in a way that, offers solutions or doesn't like disturb a whole bunch of other people. But a lot of the time it's just people coming in feeling sorry for themselves, and they want you to feel sorry for them too, because that's just like, they feel like that's the most surefire way to get someone to not hate them, is to just like devalue themselves or something. And when people come in and see that, they'll pity them and pet them. Resist this siren's call, because I promise you 100% of the time it will land your ship on the rocks. You've seen this before. It goes like this. Man, this video made me laugh so hard. My eyes teared up. I was laughing so hard, bro. I can't remember the last time I laughed. Ever since my boyfriend left me. There is almost always some genuine need buried deep in there for human connection, just to try and like vent some of these emotions out, like I said. But this is the exact approach that just repulses everybody around you, and rightfully so. And I know that's a bitter pill to swallow, especially if you've been one of these people or you've ever been real upset and just needed some help. But it's the truth. This is not the way to approach this with people. If you have ever engaged with one of these people, if you've ever screwed up and said, oh, you can't be that bad, things can't be that bad, what's wrong? Do you want to talk about it? You already know that it just leads you straight down into an unending maelstrom of misery that they will constantly like just peck away at you 24/7 with. These people all too often, strangely enough, I know this may be hard to believe, they don't want to be happy, and they don't want solutions. They don't want you to offer them a solution that will help their situation. And even if they agree that it's a good solution, most of the time they won't actually act on what you tell them. They just want to sit and make you listen to them cry. If you're the person who's doing this, you need to listen to this part right now. You need to understand that you will be miserable for the rest of your life if you continue to do this. And if that's what you want, mission accomplished. But I can't imagine why anybody in the right mind would want to just be miserable until they die. If somebody shows you kindness, that already means there's goodness in the world that's you've arrived at, right? So it would behoove you to maybe try to listen to some of the solutions that they would offer you, maybe even try some of them. You don't know. If you're happy with the way things are going, keep doing what you're doing. But if somebody's offering you advice and you're in a situation where you're not happy with the way things are going, it might be worth a try to change things up a little bit. And don't overwhelm people who show you kindness by DMing them and calling them and constantly needing their attention. Even if you feel like you're abandoned or they're ignoring you or something, that's probably not the case. People are busy. People have things to do. They have their own friends and family that aren't you. Even if you're close friends with them, there are other people in their life that want to spend time with them, that they can't always invite you to those things. So just be chill and be patient with people, okay? Don't swamp and drown these people in this emotionally taxing stuff, because it is emotionally taxing when you do this stuff to people. When you need to vent on people, that is like saps people of energy that they need themselves. They're doing you a huge favor by just listening to you. So be thankful and be patient. And if somebody does ask you for help, genuinely, they come to you one-on-one and they're like, hey, I really need to talk to you about something. Understand that it is as necessary to vent about emotional stuff as it is to use the bathroom when you're human. But there is an important distinction from asking someone to use their bathroom and peeing all over their kitchen floor. And if you find yourself in a situation with one of these people who are emotionally taxing you, be kind to them. Make one suggestion. If you have advice you'd like to offer them that you feel sure would help them out, would cause like a positive change that would make them not so miserable, offer them one piece of advice. If they don't take it, that's it. Like, just, hey, I gave you advice, man, and you didn't do what I told you. So what else do you want me to do? I can't just sit here and like let you just drain me of all my energy every single day. I have stuff I have to do. And after that, if they consistently try to just pour their problems all over you all the time, it might be time to cut them loose. To a good person, it is extremely tempting. It is almost irresistibly tempting to reach out and help someone who is in need. But it is the most noble of vices that most easily entice the righteous. Nobody, not me, not you, not anybody you know, deserves to just have their time just sucked down a toilet. So even though it does seem like it's the right thing to do in every situation, to reach out and help these people and just listen to them day after day after day, just know that it's not your responsibility to do that. Even if they try to use the guilt of cutting them loose as like some kind of little manipulation tactic to draw you back in, don't worry about it. It does not make you a bad person to cut someone loose who is just making your life worse. These are, again, just some of the main issues I noticed going around today. If you feel like you've noticed something like this that's prevalent and I didn't mention it, leave it in the comments below the video here and I'll consider putting it in a new video. So with that, remember to floss and brush before bed. Adios.